Alright. My name is Brian Tagnoni, and I've got this title now, God's Numbers Don't Lie. And I've placed some other things on YouTube that said Numbers Don't Lie, but we're titling it better. We're going to tell you about 10.5 and number 2. 2 people were cast out of the Garden of Eden. 2, the second person alive committed the first sin. The second man ever, Cain, committed the first murder, and he murdered the second man ever born of a woman, Abel. The second month, God destroyed the world with the flood. The animals entered the ark, 1 pair by 7 pair. The 1 pair, 2 animals were considered unclean. The priests who were unclean attended Passover the second month. Pharaoh's magicians could only replicate 2 plagues, blood and frogs. Frogs came up on the 8th day, by the way. Herod killed all the children 2 years and below in search of Jesus Christ. Moses blessed all the tribes of Israel except 2. He didn't bless Simon. Imagine that. He didn't bless the second tribe, Deuteronomy 33. You'll see that. The second death, the second captivity, Babylon and Assyria. Also, Hananiah, who falsely prophesied in Jeremiah 28 that in 2 full years, during their second captivity, they'd be released. God told Jeremiah Hananiah was a liar, and 2 months after that, killed him. 2. It's a highly relevant number. Let's see. Also, 2 o'clock was the center hour of darkness when Christ was on the cross. See, God's got a light. His day begins and completes the rising of the sun. Just like when you killed the Passover lamb at the going down of the sun, the even, that was symbolic of Christ dying. And the rising of the sun is the lifting of Jesus Christ in our life. We're coming into life, into the light, saved by the light. God is a God of light. He's light to light, not darkness to darkness. They moved time backwards after this by 6 hours. And what they did was they made our day begin and complete in the center of darkness. The 10.5 is how you stay alive. Let me let you know something. Jesus Christ ascended 5 weeks and 5 days on the 5th day of the week. 555, right? It was 5 weeks, 5 days, and the 5th day of the week that he ascended, the second month, 26th day. That's 40 days. That's the 10.5. Also, when God renumbered the months when they were coming out of Egypt, and he made the first month, the 7th month, and 7th month, the first month, half that year had already passed. So the next year that they began, their new year, it actually was 1.5. That year was 1.5. Also, that was the 14th. And the 14th, with the Passover lamb, that's 1.5. Because 9 is 1. 0 through 9 are your numbers, and 9 is the 10th and highest number. And 14, so it would be 1.5. And at the even, when you killed the Passover lamb, 0.5 of the day, the rest of that day, would bring you to the rising of the sun and the 15th. The 10.5 brought you through darkness into the light. They were actually freed during the night. They walked out, though, the first daylight into the light at the rising of the sun, 10.5, the 15th. Also, you were to bring a Passover lamb to you on the 10th and hold it to the 14th day and kill it. That was 5 days, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 10.5. Half a shekel was off ransom that an Israelite would pay at the age of 20 years old. That's when he began to pay that for God knocking off all the firstborn of Egypt. And that was only obtainable by paying 10 gerahs. 10 gerahs paid half a shekel, 10.5. Also, God's most coveted 10th, Sabbath of the 10th of the 7th month, the Day of Atonement, that began on the 9th at the even. So half the 9th would be over with, and the 0.5, at the 0.5 of the 9th, the even, going down the sun, you would begin the Sabbath of Yom Kippur. And at the 0.5 of that Sabbath, it would become the 10th, 0.5 of that Sabbath. The day would be the rising of the sun would bring the 10th, and that would be the 0.5 of Sabbath. The 10.5 leads you through darkness into the light at the rising of the sun. When Jesus Christ died on the cross, He was put on the cross at the third hour. That was 15 hours after the even sacrifice. When Jesus Christ gave up the ghost at the ninth hour, that was 15 hours after God smote the center of darkness of midnight, which was the 18th hour. When also that day was the 15th. And guess what? That was man's 1500th hour when Christ died. And guess what? He was on the cross for 6 hours to the ninth hour, and that's 15 again. And guess what? Since 9 is 1, when he gave up the ghost at the ninth hour, right? Man's 1500th hour. When he gave up that ghost, there was 6 hours that he hung on the tree, 3 in light and 3 in darkness. So at the 0.5, okay, when it became dark, when he finished the 3 hours of darkness, it was in 10.5. Boom, he shut up out of there, and the light shined. That's when Christ shined. The sun shined. Freed mankind from Satan. Well, we're running back to him because we're not listening. We're not seeing. He was born to the 4th tribe of Judah, raised in the 10th tribe of Zebulun, the 10th son of Jacob, where Nazareth was. That's 1/4, the 10.5. His disciples came to him in the 10th hour. That was 4 o'clock, the 10.5. They parted his clothes 4 by 1. That's one full coat, and tore his other clothes up by 4. That's 1/4. That's 1/5. That's the 10.5. Hezekiah with the sundial Ahaz. He wanted the sun to return 10 degrees, by which 10 degrees it had gone down. And he was given 15 more years. 10.5 gives life. Because you know what? That was also 40 minutes. That 10 degrees on a sundial was 40 minutes. And that's 1/4, and that's the 10.5 gives life. The 15 cubits, the waters rose above the mountains. That's 10.5 rises above the mountaintops. 150 days, the waters prevailed upon the earth. The 10.5 prevails upon the earth. Six is 18 is 2. Satan was number 2, cast out, because he wanted to be number 1. He was in great error. Your preachers that take money are lying to you. No preacher in your Bible ever took money, unless they were killed. The hireling cares not for the flock. God will take care of them. They pass the offering plate and they kill brotherly love. Because you pass a little bit of money up in there and you say you've done your duty, and you haven't. The Good Samaritan stopped and gave of himself and helped. Then he left some money behind to pay a due's bill. He gave of himself. He gave the best. He gave the 10.5. The Levites taught you how to tithe. Okay? They gave a 10th part, right? And the 10th part that they gave was symbolic of the threshing floor, the fullness of the threshing floor. Then they made a heave offering from the 9 they had left over, because 9 gives the best, and you pulled the hallow part thereof, and you put that in. And that was to be symbolic of the increase. And so that's how you lay your tithe out. Whatever you expected, that's your fullness. But anything over that, that's the increase God gave you and that was a provision for the poor. Because the Levites helped the poor folk out too. And they lived off of that. And they didn't turn it into money unless they got false. When they got false and started selling it off, changing it into money. When God said in Malachi, you stole from me, how we stole from you tithes and offerings, bring tithes and offerings, you know, whether it be food in my house. He's talking to the preachers. They were stealing. He wasn't talking to the people. The preachers were stealing. When in Malachi, where God breaks that off, he's breaking that off to the preachers who were ripping him off, not the people. The hireling cares not for the flock. And these preachers won't wear rough clothes so to deceive. Start reading your Bibles, people. Look at Zechariah. These people they're thieves running around with soft hands. I'm going to give you 18 next time. 1-8 shows it all over the Bible how Sunday is not God's day. It's not his rest. And we'll start that off by the 7th day. In the Bible, in Genesis, has no end. All the other days have an end, but the 7th day doesn't. There's no end to God's 7th, no end to his rest. And there's only one 7th day and only one Sabbath. And these people, they got you serving somebody else who called himself Jesus Christ. And it tells you in Daniel who he is, because he elevated himself to the Prince of Heaven, and it's the abomination of desolation. You're also not supposed to make any pictures of Jesus Christ because they can be perverted. Anything that's in heaven. What are you doing? You're not listening to God. God bless you.